What follows the two overtures in Beat the Dog is the portion composed by the philosopher upon the suffering of Beat. The use of the philosopher establishes an atmosphere of introspection and meditation upon the emotions. The piece, which is composed by the philosopher, is entitled A Collection of Feelings, created by oneself and influenced by others. The first movement, Joy, captures the positive emotions felt by Beat as detailed in the poem. It is for violin and viola, and features none of the important themes introduced in the overture. It ends with the violin descending by half steps to the note which begins the next movement, Scared Admiration, Intimidation, for solo piano. This movement expresses the negative emotions felt by Beat, and opens with a theme which I hope is familiar to you all. This is the theme first heard in the horn in the overture. The next important theme is in bar 29, which is featured in the overture played by the cello. The movement closes with another descent into the beginning of the next movement, entitled Freedom. This one's for violin, viola, and piano, and it captures the feeling of success and the carefree attitude felt by Beat upon his enlightenment. In bar 30 of Freedom, we hear the theme that was first heard in the low strings of the overture. What follows the collection of feelings is a pair of pieces written by the clown upon the entertainment of Beat. The first of the pair is a waltz for clarinet and string quartet. It is built on the motion from F sharp to G. There are two main themes. The first begins with an F sharp jumping down to G. It is quite robust and active, while the second theme, beginning with F sharp ascending to G, is very elegant and graceful, with the clarinet singing on the upper voice. For the form of the waltz, I simply develop the two themes separately. The piece explodes into a climax which features a tune we heard back in the overture, but this time it is arranged in 3/4. In bar 229, the ensemble features the Chaiki theme from the overture, although the vibe here is a bit different, one of transition rather than decreasing energy. The viola theme is heard quite a lot in this piece. And finally, the choral theme, which closes the overture, ends the waltz. The second of the pair of pieces written by the clown is entitled Nothing at All, for piano and trumpet. It is sort of a minimalist piece, based on the theme first played by the bassoon in the overture. The piano plays it over and over again, while the trumpet adds melodic lines to it. Let's hear a brief excerpt. The next piece might be my personal favorite of Beat. It's called One for sax quartet and is written by the poet. Consisting of two movements entitled As a State and As a Whole, the piece offers two perspectives on loneliness. The first presents the negative side of being alone, and the second presents the kind of strong solitude which comes with it. The main idea with the first movement, As a State, is to present the choral theme in different spots and take longer to resolve with each statement, conveying a longing which gets stronger and stronger. Besides that, there are two main themes which are unique to this particular movement, and they have some interesting interplay throughout. The close of the movement is the choral theme, but this time it does not resolve. The next movement, As a State, begins with the minor third theme first heard in the horn in the overture. The ending tag of that theme is used as an accompaniment for the main theme of the movement, which is based on the viola theme. Here's the isolated theme. In bar 24, the bari sax inverts the theme. In bar 50, it's heard in sixteenths and passed around the ensemble, and in the next few bars I combine the viola theme with the minor third theme, as well as the chaiki theme. The piece ends with a coda based on the viola theme, with a small reference to the cello theme from the overture. The next piece is something a little different from the rest. It's entitled The Reading of a Sermon, The Devil's Muse, and it's written by the minister. The piece involves a speaker and two basses. The basses have three important themes that you'll hear throughout. The basses then alternate with the speaker, holding a pedal chord underneath the text. The text is basically a minister explaining to the audience the positive role that pain and hardships play in your relationship with God, and that they can actually be used to strengthen the relationship rather than damage it. The melody that the basses play in between each stanza is quite energetic. Here, take a listen. After that, you hear some familiar themes in the rest of the piece. Then, when the speaker is all done with the text, the basses bash away violently on the closing chord, in offset rhythm. Which brings us to the final piece of Beat's celebration. This one's called The Introduction of the Main Character, and it's for string quartet. On the program, it says that this piece is written by you, to signify that we all have a little Beat the dog a part of us, the isolated feeling that occurs when we measure ourselves up to someone else. The actual music is a cold chorale, with the quartet playing whole notes without vibrato and making use of some quarter-tones as well. Later on, a melody blossoms out of the viola part and is passed around to the cello and second violin. The atmosphere shifts to something which sounds a bit like Vivaldi's Winter. The cold sequences eventually lead us to the closing bars of the whole thing. Sound familiar? That's how we started this concert, with a half step in the horns. The reappearance of that little figure ties the whole thing together and signals to the audience that the piece is a whole, not just a bunch of separate, unrelated parts. Rather than explaining all the subliminal meanings behind the movements and themes in fictional composers, I'd invite you, the listener, to explore what beat means to you. After all, you are the main character.